There is a kind of silence that only exists underground, below moving water, in a place where no surface sound has ever reached. I know that silence better than I know my own voice. I spent 11 years learning its texture, the way it changes at different depths, the way a flooded cave holds your breath back at you like it is tasting it. My name does not matter. What I did matters. I was a cave diver. I worked freshwater systems across the central United States. Flooded karst networks, sinkhole basins, collapsed aquifer channels. The kind of water that stays 48 degrees year-round and moves so slowly you forget it is moving at all. I quit 14 months ago. I have not touched my gear since. The dry bags are in my sister's storage unit in Joplin, Missouri, because I could not keep them in my own house. That is where I need to start. Not with what happened inside the cave, with the woman who put me inside it. Her name was Petra. She was 53 years old, and she had been diving longer than most instructors have been alive. She trained me when I was 26, back when I thought confidence was the same thing as preparation. Petra corrected that quickly. She had a way of going still when she was thinking through a problem. Not still like she was resting, still like a structure before it decides whether to hold. When something went wrong on a dive, she did not talk more. She got quieter. That was the signal. You learn to watch for it. She had a habit I noticed in my third year diving with her. Before any briefing, she would write a single line in the back of her logbook and then close it without showing anyone. I asked her once what she wrote. She said it was the exit, the one thing she was going to focus on if everything else stopped making sense. I thought she meant a physical location, a specific point in the cave where, if you got turned around, you oriented toward and started moving. I did not understand what she meant until 14 months ago. Not the exit as a place, the exit as a decision, the moment you choose to leave before the cave chooses for you. That was the last thing I ever understood about her. The cave system is called Millbrook Hollow. It sits below a stretch of private farmland in southern Missouri, about 40 minutes off any road that shows on a standard map. The access point is a flooded shaft behind a collapsed barn foundation, and the landowner had been paid to forget we were ever there. We were three on this job, myself, Petra, and a geology contractor named Dex, who worked salvage assessments for insurers and had done enough wet cave mapping that he knew how to handle himself when the silt came up. The contract was private, a company I will not name. They wanted formation samples from a section of the system that no diver had reached since a survey team partially mapped it in 1989. The survey team's notes stopped mid-page. The official reason on file was equipment failure. Petra told me she had read those notes once, years before. She told me that the notes did not read like equipment failure. They read like someone put the pen down and did not pick it up again. I asked her what she thought had happened. She went still, that kind of still. She said she thought the team found something they were not able to name, and that unnamed things have a way of following you back through the water. That was the last normal thing she ever said to me. We were 230 feet in and descending when the line went wrong. Not cut, not tangled, just wrong. Dex was ahead of me running the reel, and the tension in the line between us changed. It went heavy. Not the weight of the line itself, something else. The way a rope feels when the thing at the other end of it stops moving on its own. I stopped kicking. The water in Millbrook Hollow smells like chalk and old iron. At depth it gets stronger, mineral and cold. At that moment I noticed a third smell underneath both of them. Something organic, warm. The kind of warmth that does not belong in 48-degree water. Dex did not respond on comms. The part I have never told anyone comes next. I felt something move past me in the dark. Not a current. Not a shift in the water column from movement ahead. Something physical. Long. The pressure change of it was lateral, running from my left shoulder down to my knee in a single continuous wave. like a wall passing at speed. I have felt whale displacement in open water before. This was not smaller than that. Petra was behind me. I turned to signal her. Her light was off. Both lights, the primary and the back, gone at the same time, which is not a thing that happens. Backup lights do not fail when primary lights fail. They run on separate systems for exactly that reason. I know this. I built her backup housing myself 3 seasons ago in her kitchen in Branson, while she stood at the counter and corrected my soldering. I waited. 11 seconds. I counted them. Nothing. I started moving toward the exit. I do not remember making the decision. My hands found the line, and my body followed it. And I stopped thinking about anything except the direction the knots told me was out. I surfaced alone. The company called me 4 hours later, before I had filed any report, before I had spoken to anyone. A man I had never spoken to told me what I had experienced was consistent with a known phenomenon in flooded karst systems called acoustic pressure inversion. He used that phrase 3 times. He told me the disorientation I experienced was well documented. He told me Petra and Dex had been recovered. He said recovered, not found. Recovered. I asked where. He said the details were being handled through the appropriate channels and that I would receive documentation shortly. I asked what documentation. He said a standard incident summary and a contractor release form. It arrived the next morning. I signed it. I do not know why I signed it. I think I was still waiting to feel something that would tell me what was real. Petra's logbook came back in a zippered pouch with my gear. I do not know how it got there. It was not in the water with us. She kept it in the equipment van. Her last entry was from the morning of the dive. One line, like always. The exit. But she had written something else below it. Small letters, circled twice. It already knows you are here. I have not opened my gear bag since. I keep telling myself it is because the contract language prohibits independent documentation of the site. That is true. That is one reason. The other reason is simpler. Before I left the water, in those 11 seconds, my dive computer logged a proximity reading. Something very large, very close, stationary, waiting. I do not know what it was waiting for. I do not know if it is still there. But the sightings along the Ozark waterways have increased in the last year, and 3 separate landowners near Millbrook Hollow have reported their livestock will not go near the water. They never said anything about that in the release form.